I would like to read the 10 offenses to the holy names which are to be avoided, written by Srila Vyasadeva in the Padma Purana. Number 1, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Number 2, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. Number 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Number 4, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in persons to the Vedic version. Number 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Number 6, to give some interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. Number 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Number 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda. Number 9, to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Number 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. I once again welcome all of you to the Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call and a very happy Vyas Puja to our beloved Srila Prabhupada. So now we will be moving on to our next session, which will be the glories of Srila Prabhupada. Before going to the next session, let me know who are all on the call, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna and happy appearance day of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and thank you for your wishes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vrinta Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas, and happy Srila Prabhupada appearance day to everyone. Hari Bol. And I'm happy that Preeti Mataji, you were able to join. Hare Krishna.
Thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and thank you for your wishes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Daksdas from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Dakshi Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania, and happy Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja to all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your wishes and thank you so much for joining the call. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and also happy Nandotsav Day to all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada. That's it from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Shamagori Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasni Devidasi from Atlanta.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasni Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for every day joining the call and encouraging all of us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances into your lotus feet. Pad, all
Hare
glories
Krishna.
to assemble devotee. All
Hare
glories to
Krishna.
assemble. This is Puja
Yes,
Roda.
Hare Krishna Puja Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. My feet is not the lotus feet. It is only the Prabhupada's feet is the everlasting lotus feet. And Lord Shri Krishna's feet is everlasting lotus feet. So thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, happy Vyas Puja to all.
Thank you, Mataji, for your wishes and happy Nandotsav also. Anyone else who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranams to you and all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. This is Lalita Radha Devidasi from Toronto.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Kaviraj, Lalitangi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembly devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. We will move on to the class. Thank you so much to all of you for joining today's session, which is Hare Krishna. Thank you all of you once again for joining the call for today's very auspicious day, which is Nandotsav and Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. And so we are going to hear about glories of the greatest, the strongest, the saintly and the straight-arrowed person, which is none other than our Srila Prabhupada. So, and this nectar we are going to hear from Her Grace Lalitangi Mataji and His Grace Samik Rishi Prabhuji. We don't have introduction for both of them because they are the direct disciples of our beloved Srila Prabhupada. So we are we can have so much nectar from them. Thank you so much, Lalitangi Mataji, for joining the call and giving your valuable time and association. And we are very happy to have you on the call. Being Prabhupada's disciple, we will be having more nectar which is flowing from you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Please take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please send my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the assembled devotees. You have become my life, and you've been part of my offerings each year since I arrived in North Carolina. I would like to say first, I joined in Montreal in 1974. But I've been introduced to Srila Prabhupada's movement when I was very young, from both a talk show that was on the TV and my mother and I watched, and also from a newspaper article that I read and saw the devotees' pictures, Dandavat on the floor. I guess it was Guru Puja. And so when I was 18 years old, I had a dream of Prabhupada. And my mother was to my right. And I actually had met the devotees on Harinam in Montreal and took a picture from one book and framed it. When I joined the temple in Montreal, the temple president took that picture for himself. So I would like to just do my offering first that I wrote for this year. And then just give you some reflections of what Janmashtami did for me yesterday, and the association with the Vaishnavas in such auspicious days as Janmashtami and Srila Prabhupada's Vyas Puja. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatu Deshatarane. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is so very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken complete shelter at his lotus feet. Our respectful obeisances are unto you, O spiritual master, servant of Saraswati Goswami. You are so kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Dev and delivering the Western countries, which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. This is my offering. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. By your mercy, last year we moved to our final address on Radha's Way. We are engaged in service and are settling in, preparing to devote as much time that remains to diving into your books and praying to chant the Maha Mantra with greater and greater attention. I'm exceedingly grateful that you picked me up when I was a teenager and engaged my youthful enthusiasm in unending service to you and Lord Chaitanya's movement. I beg forgiveness for still maintaining material attachments in spite of the spiritual treasures you continue to offer to me. I am so often embarrassed to see desire after desire being fulfilled and protection being offered to myself and family. Still, Lord Krishna gives me remembrance of his sanction, and I am overflooded with gratefulness for how you so personally take care of this lowly person and redirect my consciousness towards you time and again. When I was handed over my service when we moved here from a great soul, that's Abhiram Saka Prabhu, I did not know at that time that his wife, along with himself, were opening the way for us to have the association of devotees, totally dedicated and absorbed in your every word. You would be so immensely proud of your disciples' disciples and their sincerity and depth of understanding of all of your books. They represent you exactly as you would have it. Their spiritual potency and attachment to Krishna consciousness affects and uplifts all that come in contact with them. This ever-expanding transcendental family embraces us all, and by this daily purification of our anarthas, we are becoming established in remembrance of the goal of life and serving all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord in whatever meager way we can. We pray for your mercy to help us eventually overcome the effects of the modes of material nature and rise to the occasion of actually embracing the mood of service to your divine lotus feet. Only through your mercy can we even recognize the gift of our human life and aspire to the goal of this boon, Krishna consciousness. All I can say is, Krishna, 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 hey, please, please help me to not let go of your beautiful lotus feet. Your ever thankful servant, Lalita Devi Dasi. I was initiated on Govardhan Puja in Montreal, Canada. So, yesterday was a very interesting day for a Janmashtami because we have construction due to issues, and there was people, and it wasn't like a normal day where you could dive into chanting and be in the association of the Vaishnavas. And at one point I had to hook up a new modem, a new router, because the internet had gone down and I was replacing it. And when I was talking to them to pick out what I needed, what facilities, I almost forgot. I said, well, my most important activity is the 1 to 2 hours every morning with the Zoom class with the Bhakti Sangha group. And so in that endeavor, it took a few hours, and then something came in asking me to do some treasury work, because I act as a treasury work. And I was thinking, oh, it's getting late. How am I going to do my service to my deities? And at one point I just said, well, I'm going to go make the garlands. Let me at least start with making their garlands. And so when I sat down, the first thing I said to myself was, well, let me make Srila Prabhupada's garland. The only reason I know about Krishna is because of Srila Prabhupada. And I made garland for the temple and for my deities. And then I started the deities garlands for my Radha Krishna deities that were gifted to me. And I was thinking, as I was making them, I was thinking, well, let me make Krishna's. Okay. Oh, I need a headpiece for Radharani, and I need a garland for Radharani to offer to Krishna. So I made them fairly quickly, and I was able to bathe them and to dress them and put on their garlands before we headed to the temple. But when I was reflecting on this, I kind of realized when I was a young devotee, we didn't have internet. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have radios. We didn't have a computer. We didn't have a phone number. And our addresses changed. I think I moved 45 times from different temples in my youth. And the 3 or 4 days when my internet was completely out, at first there was this anxiousness. And then I started to feel this calm. I was feeling this feeling that, oh, this is the way it was when Prabhupada was here, that you just thought of what's my next service. And we were very young. Most of us were very young. I joined at 19. So we didn't really know ourselves very much. But the fact is that I'm going to show this picture behind me on the wall. That's when Srila Prabhupada came to Montreal. And in that picture, there's Kartamisha next to Prabhupada. And the garlands on Prabhupada I got to make. And Kartamisha, I dressed him. He's the first deity that I ever dressed. And there's Shripati. Shripati was doing arti to Prabhupada on that most auspicious day. And he was only in Montreal for a very short time because Indira Gandhi wanted him to meet with him, and he left to do that. He was trying to get more facility for the devotees to be able to stay in India. There was very important issues. I remember opening the door at the side of the temple and running to give the last garland I had made for him. And I was in the kitchen most of the time cooking for different preps. And it was being in the environment of a temple, living in a temple and being with the Vaishnavas, even though we were so new. I don't consider myself a real devotee. When I see Malati and Jamuna and Shamasundar and all the devotees at Samik Rishi Prabhu Maharaj, they did unlimited service. And I don't consider that I had much to offer, except my enthusiasm. And the movement was very personal. Shivaram Maharaj, who was Shivaram Brahmachari, he was sent to open a temple in Winnipeg, and I ended up being requested to come with the other devotees. And it was so wonderful to be in with such a wonderful soul, and everything we did was guided by him. And we did mostly Sankirtan, the morning program, and Sankirtan and Harinam is how devotees were made. And I remember I didn't know the details until recently, but I think we kind of didn't have enough areas to distribute books anymore that weren't frequented. They were just taken over too much by our presence. So they would put us on a plane. Shivaram put us on a plane and sent us to Thunder Bay, and with books. And then we'd be in a YMCA or something and be distributing books in very cold weather. It was so cold you felt like you weren't wearing any clothes. It was unbelievable, and you would start to fall asleep. But we distributed BTGs and as many books as we could, and we were very blissful. And we rose early and we took cold showers, and we did whatever we could to follow Prabhupada's instructions, Srila Prabhupada's instructions to us. And as the wonderful speaker yesterday said, our life was sublime. At this point in my life, sometimes I think the only thing I can offer to Srila Prabhupada is to always carry some books. And I always distribute lollipop prasadam that we put right in front of the deities here in the temple in the Sandy Ridge. And I always wear my tilak. I feel like it seems such a little thing to offer, but actually Prabhupada wanted us to always appear as devotees. And I feel very satisfied when I'm able to answer any questions that people may ask. In fact, the person that's painting right now at our place, he helped before we moved here. and he basically saw garlands draped, and he wanted to know about the garlands. And he asked me, how do you do this every day, or is this new every day? And he wants to know, and they're very attracted. So Krishna consciousness is the most important, immeasurable, the gift that Srila Prabhupada offered this world. And Prabhupada he was part of the spiritual world, and his energy when he was here, everyone couldn't stay on the ground. When we were with Prabhupada, everyone was completely in ecstasy. And yesterday when I was this is the first year in many years that I was able to do the full fast and from water, and was there for the midnight arti, and the devotees. It was a very wonderful gathering, and it was a really wonderful kirtan by Nitai Gaur. And I felt for a while, I was thinking, this was remarkable that I was in the presence of so many souls that I am assured that they are going back to Godhead. They've never stopped their service, and they're very sincere. And all the classes that I've been hearing, like even Najamil, that when the moment that he actually called the child within his wife's womb Narayana, that at that moment all of his sins were vanquished. And then when we heard about Putana, how Krishna, when she was offering her the poison on her breast, he took out all of her impurities. He purified her, and then he gave her liberation. So I was standing there. We know that we all have different faults, but I have to say, every time I listen to Balaram Shakti's seminars, I'm so relieved, because he clearly lets us understand that we can go home in this life, and to just continually try to chant with more and more sincerity and associate with devotees. We're assured. And all these devotees, I was standing, there was Shauri, and there was Mamata Mataji, and Madan Mahan Mohini, and certainly Sanatan. Sanatan actually was a pioneer in Lithuania. He's going home. So here I am in association with devotees that never stops their service. Shivananda never stops the service. And we went to see His Holiness Chandramali Maharaj on Sunday last. And that was, and then we see the next Thursday back in Croatia. I was so thankful. And so thankful to be with these devotees. And then to hear how he danced so beautifully in Canada, and how he was commenting Shamagori, how she danced so nice. So last night, Krishna allowed me to dance, which I hadn't been able to for a long time without any repercussions. Usually I sort of feel like I injured myself when I end this, the kirtan, but I was so thankful to have all of these different souls. When I went to their association, when I went to Sadhu Sangha, the first time we've went to be with a big congregation of devotees since COVID started. It was an extraordinary event, really. And we were at a hotel where there were some very nice devotees. I can't remember their names, all of their names, just the sun Dhruva. But in their van, they took us to the site each day. I started to talk about the Bhakti Sangha group, and they were from Tawako, New Jersey. And I started to say how wonderful Samik Rishi Prabhu Maharaj is, and how sweet and so sincere, and all the service. And the doctor, the husband, father, he said actually Samik Rishi had helped them both spiritually and materially. They're devotees because of him. And he helped him get his residency in order to be a doctor. So I always am so impressed by seeing how Krishna connects us all and gives us information that we may have wanted to know. And then Dhruva, the son, said, "You're a Prabhupada disciple?" He was young, he was very special, such a special son. And it was a wonderful thing to see that they could bring their family up in Krishna consciousness. So when I'm on this call with all these wonderful Vaishnavas, I'm always reminded how they're benedicting unlimited souls with this forum. And every time my phone goes ding, usually it's Vinita Gandharvika. It's reminding us for some class or some wonderful way of remembering Krishna. So I always take it as the instruction to always remember Krishna and never forget him. So she's my ding. She always lets me remember Krishna. And I'm just basically aware that it's not the training that I had. It was not like we gave classes. We basically came after the devotees that were with Prabhupada all the time and traveled to India with Prabhupada. When I joined in 74, this was the time when they needed temples. And we were basically trying to collect as much as we could so we could pay for them to purchase the temples. And Urvasi, who left her body just a couple of weeks back, she was married to Shripati on that picture. And interestingly enough, she made outfits for us so we could go out and collect. And we did anything we could from morning to night and to please Prabhupada. And I once wondered, the 50th anniversary came in Montreal. Major and I joined within a few weeks, and we both took initiation together on Govardhan Puj 1974. And it was a very wonderful time. Shripati came. There was many devotees invited, and Urvashi and him had no longer been together as a couple. And he said that they were like brother and sister. I always sort of wondered at the back of my mind, because everyone, now that I've been in Krishna consciousness for so many years, I have seen the trials and tribulations of all my god brothers and god sisters. And when Shivaram Maharaj put his podcast out about Urvashi leaving, which I mentioned in another, when Chandramali gave class two times ago, probably a month ago, in that podcast, he made reference to this. He said that Urvashi was so Krishna conscious that the GBC asked her not to be so Krishna conscious because she was giving her husband an inferiority complex. So usually I pray for the devotees every day with Nrsinga Kavacha, the prayers. And every time I came to want to pray for Urvashi, I kind of felt like actually I'm praying to her to help me, because I have no doubt that she's with Krishna. She was such an exalted personality, such a great personality. And Lalitangi, for example, such a poet and a beautiful person. And Tiffany, every time she gives the glorification of everyone, I feel my heart being uplifted because they're just reflecting what's within them. And, for such a long time, we always included different devotees' names at the end of our Mangalarti because we just felt so honored to have known these devotees just through this Zoom class. So I agree with Kulakshara Krishna Prabhu that this is the best that I've ever had access to, and because even when Sukumar Gaur Prabhu gave class the other day, and he was saying how the commentators, when Krishna says, what Arjun says first that I surrender unto you as your disciple, and then the next minute he's saying that I shall not fight. I always scratched my head and wondered, well, that doesn't make sense. It seems like it's backwards. And then he explained how Krishna smiled and how they smiled, and that wasn't appropriate. And then went on to instruct Arjuna how to become, actually surrendered. So the fact is that Krishna consciousness is the form and the way, the method. There's no other way in this age except trying to sincerely chant and to be in the association of devotees and to try to develop sincere compassion and love the devotees. Love them with, try to serve in any capacity you possibly can, and just really pray for our shortcomings to be annihilated by Krishna's mercy. And the one thing I will say that I always took to heart that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, that deity worship was essential. So those of us that have deities, it's such a personal relationship, and it continues to expand. Even if you can't do a lot of service, we only do the water and offer them, meals and put them to bed, wake them up. But even the other day, I realized when I went in to clear the petals that little Radharani's shoe was missing. And I thought, oh, well, sometimes it could be in the petals. So I was quickly looking through. And then I understood when I went to the place where I put all of these snippings, when I make vases, I found it. I'm like, with half a second, there was the other. And I knew what it meant. She wanted me to finish dealing with all the treasury work because it got behind with all of this construction. Because she's Lakshmi, the Lakshmi belongs to Krishna and has to get into his accounts. And I just understood how personal Krishna deals with the devotees. And it's only because of Srila Prabhupada that I have any knowledge of Krishna. So I just want to offer my sincere gratitude to each and every one of the devotees that gather every day, and all of the speakers that are so erudite and so extraordinarily devoted to Srila Prabhupada. And I just thank you for your kindness in allowing me to speak today. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lalita Mataji. I'm so sorry that initially I addressed you as Lalitangi Mataji. So, dear devotees, here with us is Her Grace Lalita Mataji, who is a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada and who had shared with us the nectar of her experience with Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving your association. So, and Samik Rishi, Samik Rishi Prabhuji is there, okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So now we will have with us His Grace Samik Rishi Prabhuji to address on glories of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We can, your voice is little breaking.
Yes, I'm here now.
Yeah, okay.
So
yeah, we can hear you, but
your
video, Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time and association. And we are waiting to hear the nectar of your association with Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Accept my humble obeisances to everyone who is joining this call. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदान्नाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतृषे नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे I got a letter from the GBCs that I should write something for Srila Prabhupada, but I was so much delayed in writing, so I thought that I will just read that to you, what I thought at that time to write to Srila Prabhupada. So it is in glorification of Srila Prabhupada and my relationship with him. So, my dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. May I accept the specks of dust from your lotus feet. All glories to you on this most auspicious day of your appearance into this world. Your appearance was foretold by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and others like Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. He foretold that taking the sharp sword of Nam Sankirtan, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will root out and destroy the demonic mentality in the hearts of the conditioned souls. And if some sinful people escape and giving up dharma, go to far off countries, my Senapati Bhakta will go there to deliver them. So this Senapati Bhakta will, which is foretold, that is about Srila Prabhupada, that if some people they were like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted, Pratvite Ate Ache Nagradi Gram Sarvatra Prachar Hoivi More Naam. So my name will spread to every town and village of the world, but some towns and villages are escaped. It is lot of still work to be done. Like I moved to Khargon in a remote area near Indore in Madhya Pradesh, but there was no ISKCON temple. The people did not know about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. People did not know about Srila Prabhupada. So I thought, let me have some temple here, and somehow just when I started, it gradually became bigger. Like in New Vrindavan Palace of Gold, they wanted to build some house for Srila Prabhupada and become so glorious and so bigger. Same thing it happened here. That people who run away from this Sankirtan movement do not take to Krishna consciousness, and Senapati Bhakt will, that is Srila Prabhupada, will catch them. So Srila Prabhupada came to the West in 1965 and 66. He opened ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and I went to America in 1971 and joined Srila Prabhupada's movement in Philadelphia Temple in 1972 when I heard about Jagannath Temple. So we went there and associated with devotees there, reading back to Godhead magazine, Bhagavad Gita, and all the thoughts of my previous life, although I was in a Vaishnava family, had gone away, that because we were worshipping many demigods also at the same time, thinking that they are all the same, there is no difference. We'll worship Lord Shiva and Durga. But by reading, those thoughts were went away. Then another question problem came in my life, that Srila Prabhupada is worshipped like God. Is offered arti with all the paraphernalia which is used for Radha and Krishna. Why? That was deep rooted in my heart. So I asked this question to my teacher, and primary teacher who gave me the name Shyam Sundar. I asked him that question because he was reading Bhagavad Gita and had learned all Bhagavad Gita, and my father also knew all the verses from Bhagavad Gita. So I asked him, and he says that you chant this Karpanya Dosha Pahata Swabhava Achyami Tvam Dharma Samudha Cheta Yasheha Nishitam Bruhitan Me Shishyaste Sadhi Tvam Mam Prapannam. That You chant this. Arjun was confused. You are also confused. So you should not chant this and pray to that please remove my doubt. What should I do in this situation? So while sleeping, I will chant that, and waking up at night time, I was thinking, but then I had a kind of dream that Prabhupada is the person that I should take shelter of him. So although it took me a long period of time, I was contemplating of taking initiation from Srila Prabhupada. It took me almost till from 72 to 77 at Janmashtami day, which was just we had Janmashtami day before yesterday in India on 19th of. So that is the day that we took initiation. I and my wife, my brother and his wife took initiation. And so in 73, April 1, we understood that Prabhupada is coming to the in the New York City. We went to see him at Henry Street, was the temple. So we went there and heard his class, Bhagavatam class, and some devotees escorted us to Srila Prabhupada's room. We would not dare to just go to his room ourselves. But at that time, so few Indians were there. So we were asked to go to Prabhupada's room. We went there, sat there. Prabhupada just asked the names and what we are doing, and Prabhupada was very happy and smiling. Then I asked him the question about mind going here and there while chanting the holy name of the Lord. And he said that in the beginning that will happen. You just chant the fixed number of rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra, and gradually by the power of the mantra, and you are bringing the mind back and forth from wherever it goes, bringing to the hearing the holy name will clear your mind from bothering. Still, it happens the same thing. If you take too many responsibilities, too much of the different things, materially or spiritually, it may happen that way that you will think about that work to do. But doing something for Krishna, it is still Krishna conscious, like building temple, distributing books, or planning for Krishna. But doing yourself for materially benefit, that how I could materially taking care of the body, family, and other things, those kind of thoughts should be avoided, at least during chanting. So Prabhupada told that you just focus on hearing the holy name. That was one of his instructions. Then there was one Indian gentleman, Mr. Chawla, and his wife. He was married to an American woman who was giving arti to everybody. So Prabhupada said that it is in international marriage is fine as long as it depends on not bodily consciousness but on serving Krishna. If both could serve Krishna in a parallel way, just like the railway tracks, then that is all right. So that was our first meeting with Srila Prabhupada on April 1, 1973. Then I met several times. I will let you know afterwards, taking the short. So you have so many exalted disciples and devotees all over the world who are glorifying you in the chastest of poetry. I cannot find suitable words to glorify you sufficiently, but please accept me as his foolish disciple who is struggling to spread Krishna consciousness in the towns and villages of Madhya Pradesh. I dream about you. I was initially hesitant in 73 when I went to Philadelphia temple and wondered why people were glorifying you and offering you arti like the deity in a temple. Yet gradually and gradually I read about you and your exalted activities. I understood that you are the topmost person to be worshipped and to be glorified. I'm sitting here at Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Ji temple in Khargone near Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and people are gradually knowing about you personally and how much service you have done for mankind to uplift them. As they learn about you, they are knowing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who they are never heard before. How his combination of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna together. Every day we announce that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is combination of Radha and Krishna, not different from Radha and Krishna. So we have deities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Krishna and Srimati Radharani, Radha Gopinath Ji. Now the Kali Yuga is so rampant, people have completely forgotten their relationship with Krishna and very few understood the goal of life. Yet your words, your life, your hopes, your teachings, your personal relationships with your disciples how hard you have worked to save the fallen conditioned souls who are gliding down towards the hell. Nobody can imagine how you suffered for all of the living beings. Your whole life is very, very wonderful, and you taught many things by your personal example. Although I was born of a Vaishnava family and used to go to Sitaram temple and Lord Shiva's temples locally, the way you taught us the significance of Lord Krishna, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srimati Radharani, and service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has opened my eyes. I would have fallen to a very degraded state, but your mercy saved me and kept me in a humble position to serve your lotus feet and serve others by preaching the message that you have given in your Bhaktivedanta purport. So I was going to these local temples, and that was the ritual. Many people, they like to go whenever there is a bell is ringing. Then people go to the run to the temple and they just pay obeisances, take some little charnamrat or some chiranjida, I mean some sugary preparation, and they come back home. But there is no philosophical discussion. There is no priest. There is no some higher role to see or talk to them or ask any questions or reading Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is in most of the temple, even now also that is happening. But Prabhupada opened in such a way that anybody who joins ISKCON or Prabhupada's movement, they serve Krishna. They serve like it is a holy place. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that 5 things out of 64 items of devotional items or devotional services. 5 things are very, very important to worship the deities. So in the temple there are deities, you could have the same, some small deities in your home also. That should be the center, offering all the bhoga to Krishna, and you could take as a prasad. So that we see in the temple and take prasad there, chanting the holy name, that is also there. So reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam reading is there, and living in a dham. So temples are like a dham because Krishna not just stay in the temple, but he strolls out. He goes out on the gardens and outside places. Like from Jagannath Puri, he went to follow a girl who was singing Geeta Govinda, and his cloth was torn by sticking into the this bangan field, that is eggplant field, that has some thorns there. So anyway, Krishna is, when you work in the garden, that is also thinking that Krishna is walking here, and we are serving Krishna in that way by making a garden beautiful. People are coming, and day before yesterday we had Janmashtami. Almost 18 to 20,000 people they came. The hall was full, packed to the, but that was just by Prabhupada's mercy. Sometimes people tell me that you look like Prabhupada, but I wonder why. And in one Philadelphia Rath Yatra, I was Philadelphia Rath Yatra, where that professor of Hinduism was there, and Prabhupada was telling that you are not a teacher, you are a cheater because you do not know what is Hinduism. Hinduism is a hodgepodge. That word is just given only in, there is no word, only people who came from the West, like Afghanistan, they only were telling that Hindus across the Indus River or Sindhu Nadi, they cannot speak Sa, they were speaking as Ha, so Sindhu and Hindu. So they call people across that Indus River or Sindhu Nadi as Hindus, but there is none of the Vedic literature this word Hindu is given. So Prabhupada has taught by his personal example many things, and so many Indians would have degraded all over the world. Even at that time, we were taking luncheons, and so many people would eat meat and all these things. I would have tempted to eat those things like hot dogs and others, but Prabhupada's teachings, Prabhupada's association, Prabhupada's pure devotee saved us from falling down to the Western way of life, a completely materialistic way, and eating even cows, meat, and others. So that is Prabhupada's mercy that I was protected and took to this Krishna consciousness gradually more and more seriously. And still I'm trying to improve myself. So Prabhupada is given so many Bhaktivedanta purports which are very, very clear. So, dear Srila Prabhupada, by your mercy, in only 4 months of opening a temple in this remote area of Khargone, Madhya Pradesh, surrounded by many villages, thousands are coming and going down before you in appreciation like myself. Many of them are fallen and would be destined towards the hellish planets. You are our wonderful Savior who has shown us that simply by chanting the holy names and associating with devotees, we can become free from the miseries of this material world and fulfill the goal of human life to serve Sri Radha Krishna in their abode. People are so much concerned with money to earn, but Krishna is ready to give in full the unlimited opulences to his pure devotees. Even so, we can still be a loving relationship with him in Golok Vrindavan or even Bhoma Vrindavan. We will always remain eternally indebted to you for revealing this most confidential knowledge unto us. We will try and serve your lotus feet by spreading Krishna consciousness as much as possible. Krishna gives us his strength, intelligence, his pure devotee, and the Vaishnavas to achieve your goals. So Prabhupada's by mercy, we have association with devotees, we have distributing the books, but this is all Prabhupada has taught by his personal example, how many books he loved to see this. This knowledge about Krishna consciousness would have been gone practically, but Prabhupada has given us the real thing, like Prabhupada gives always a story of a boatman and a scholar. So they were sitting in the boat and a scholar was asking this boatman, have you learned this? Have you learned philosophy or different kinds of knowledges? He says, none. He says, your 75% life is wasted. And then there was all of a sudden, there was so much storm and it was raining and boat was said that now do you know this? He says, no. And he says that your 100% life is gone and both drowned and the scholar died. So the same is the teaching, like the material world, that we talk about so many material things, but our life would be wasted. The human life is very, very rare and it would be wasted without Krishna consciousness. And we will take so many species of life or go life after life to so many fields. So he is the one that we just do not have any higher goal or we do not know other than ahar nidra bhay math on eating, mating and depending. But he has given us a goal. People have no goal. No, like there is a sambandha avideya prayojan. We know that we are children of Krishna. We have a relationship with him. He is our real eternal father. The process of devotional service that is there, avideya. And our goal is the lotus feet, 7 lotus feet of Shri Radha Gopinath ji. I give the name of, means I not myself, but we give the name of our temple deities who are very, very beautiful. Radharani looks like Radha Shyam Sundar in Vrindavan. And so we give this Radha Gopinath, so we know the people, we know the goal of life is to go back home, back to Godhead in loving devotional service at the lotus feet of Krishna. And people have forgotten that human life is so rare. Many people here, they ask the question, won't we remain as a human being? In the next life, we are human being, the plants will become plant, the plant, they grow, they produce some seeds, and again the plants come. So we will also be again a human being. And I told them that that is not possible. Just you could give the example of so many crocodile and Gaj and Grah are this Bharat Maharaj who became Jad Bharat later on will become a deer and then Jad Bharat. So he has taken. So there are many pages of Bhagavata, this life that we would not remain as human being all the time. So this life would be wasted if we do not use it for Krishna consciousness. And it is all by Srila Prabhupada's mercy that we are sticking and we have some goal in life. At least it may not be fulfilled in this lifetime, but by Prabhupada's mercy, we will be at least start where we left in our next life. So Prabhupada's altar, Vyasasan, is on the as you see the face the temple, that is on the left side. nearby rather than at the far end of the hall in our temple. So people are seeing you sitting in trance here. Sometimes they tell me that to some extent I look like you. I do not know why, but your mercy is uh, always showering upon us. I hope that I can distribute your mercy to others. Please give me the words that will convince the people in general to take shelter of your lotus feet and live and live in your house. So you, Prabhupada said that Prabhupada has built a house in which everybody can live. So that is by Varnashram Dharma. That is by Bhagavad Dharma. That is by Varna Ashram. Everybody practices the not ordinary way, but Devi Varnashram. Then they all would live in Krishna consciousness in a house and would be protected from falling down. So Prabhupada has built this Varnashram house that all the people with different tendencies they could live and work together to go back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, we will be burning in the forest fire of material existence. Sansara dava nala lila loka tranaya karunya ghana ghana tvam praptasya kalyana gunana vasya vande guru shri charanaru. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it. So the spiritual master delivers from a materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, who is an ocean of auspicious qualities. So Prabhupada, his knowledge has been getting lost about his spiritual culture, and it is so much urgency that uh, only right now, like 5,250 years has gone of Krishna leaving this mortal world, and Kali Yuga is started when Krishna left this mortal world, and up to Parikshit Maharaj or others, the world was protected because they were so exalted kings. But now there is no Rajarshis. The people are all fallen down. There is so much corruption. So much people are after money and bodily consciousness and envious, and they do competition rather than living simply and worshipping Krishna. They get under so many demigod worship and bogus gurus and bogus thoughts, bogus philosophy in so many ways, and people believe them because they speak so uh, in such a way that they just are convinced this is the guru. You take it, although he's a bogus and sense enjoyer. So anyway, Prabhupada taught us very purely. It is pure Krishna consciousness, and in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Radha Krishna, and our goal is naturally to be. He gave the loving relationship with Krishna and the devotees. But just chanting the holy name alone would show us from name would come Nam, Rupa, his form, Gun, and Leela, his entourage, his devotees. So we have to protect ourselves from falling down, from gliding down, and having good association with devotees. One may say, how do I know if somebody is an exalted devotee or not? How I could find out, how I could associate? By being with him and hearing, if you know the philosophy, we don't have devotees around us, but there is a book Bhagavat and person Bhagavat. So you could hear from person Bhagavat, and or if not available, then book Bhagavat. Book Bhagavat gives a story about so many exalted Vaishnavas and Bhaktamal that is being translated into English now. That is also gives lot of stories about the devotees. So you are with devotees by reading about them, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and or you could go to some nearby some temple and associate with the elevated Vaishnavas. So I am thankful to all of you for giving me chance to speak. And Mataji was there. She was so I know her from our meeting with her, either in Tuaku temple or some other temple. Wonderful Vaishnavi. So I thank to all of you for giving your time to listen to listen and so I will end here. If you have any questions or comments, we can discuss. Hare Krishna. Was it clear sound?
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhuji, we could hear you clearly, but there was a little bit of disturbance in the background.
This is important. Hare Krishna. I had other visit to Srila Prabhupada when my first son Sarvesh was born, and we put him at his Prabhupada's lotus feet, and then hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna. Okay. Okay. So Prabhupada asked him, Baba ka naam kya? He will speak in Hindi or Bengali whenever he sees those. And then we said Sarvesh, and he put his hand on my son Sarvesh. So that is one. I was staring at him, and he was staring at me in Philadelphia Rath Yatra. He was sitting at Subhadra's Rath Yatra. That was his most of the usual routine. That Prabhupada would come little bit later on. He will be escorted to Subhadra's Rath Yatra, and he will climb on that. His Vyasasan would be there. So I was looking at him that why so many devotees are taking shelter of him and why is so important, what is greatness in him. That was in 1975. And so Prabhupada was looking at me. For that happened for almost 1.5 to 2 minutes, which is a long time. And nonetheless, he's showering his mercy, and I'm thankful to Srila Prabhupada for giving me initiation, for giving me so much instructions in the form of his lectures, wonderful lectures, that I read his letters, and many ways that I that he showered his mercy, and he's showering his mercy to everybody, whoever is he wants to take it. It is not restricted. And so even the degraded people, Prabhupada has taught them by his mercy. He was so compassionate, and he took so much trouble for all of us. So I'm begging to him that I could also take whatever difficulties come in spreading Krishna consciousness, that I may take it. He gives my words so that people could follow. In India, people, they gather, they come, take just selfies, pictures, but they are not interested in hearing. When Srila Prabhupada was here in India, hardly just one Mishra. He took initiation from Srila Prabhupada in almost 60. Although he was a sannyasi, he wanted to preach to back to Godhead magazine, to every place, but only one person took initiation. But because we have so much wrong philosophy, we learned so many different ways. Means people, they understand that we are the spirit soul. They know about the karma, but they do not have that how relationship could develop with Krishna or with in different mellows like Shantaras, Dasharas, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, Madhuryaras. People do not know and how Krishna is merciful. They think all the demigod and Krishna is the same, and it is very difficult to preach if you tell some ill about some demigod. So I do not really speak more about demigod, just give what is in the Shastra and go on in that way to give the message rather than telling something that Krishna is the only way. And we worship Krishna, we chant, but very few people are interested in hearing to Bhagavatam in the morning and Bhagavad Gita in the evening. Throngs of people come in many temples, but to give proper attention, gradually we are trying and cultivating and trying to do our best in Krishna consciousness. I'm still looking for some devotees to join us, good preachers, good kirtaniyas, good person who could, pujaris who could decorate the ditis nicely. More you better you decorate, better people they appreciate. Krishna should look he is the most beautiful, but we have to make him beautiful in the form of the Archa Vigraha. So Prabhupada has done all of these things and taught us how to spread Krishna consciousness. And if we take a little mercy of Prabhupada, and by his mercy, he has already shown the seed, and the seed will fructify one day, whether by opening temple or by taking initiation, and that will fructify. But proper atmosphere has to be given for fructifying it. So I again appreciate for you to give me the time do the class. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So is there any comments or questions?
Danvat Pranam, Samik Rishi Prabhuji. Am I audible here?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear you.
my name is Pranananda Das, and I hope you recall I told you before that I have met you in New Jersey Tobacco Temple. That was back in 1995 when I migrated from Kenya to United States. So I'm so fortunate that I had your association, and that I had prayed before I came to United States to Lord Sri Krishna and Srila Prabhupada that let me go to US, but let me meet some devotees. And through your mercy, because you brought Radha Govind Swami to Tobacco Temple for so many, Katha, Bhagavad Katha, and I was lucky to hear Kaishor Lila in that time, which you had arranged with Vrindavan Das Prabhuji and Vraj Kishore Das Prabhuji. So I was so lucky that I came in contact with devotees like your good self and others in Tobacco Temple. I stayed there in New Jersey for 2 years, and then I came to Las Vegas. And for the last 20 years or so, I have also been able to preach to some small group of people here. Every Sunday we are doing that. And that's how I got mercy of Srila Prabhupada through your association. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm really feeling so good when I hear your sound because I recall hearing you there so many times like that. So thank you very much. And, please continue to give us your association. I understand you are in India right now. Is it correct? Okay. So if you happen to be in United States, I would like to meet you. And if you would be coming on the West Coast anytime, I'll invite you to Las Vegas if you could come and give your association, probably. Haribol, thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much. So I see some hand. Is there anybody else has any comments?
Hare Krishna, Samik Rishi Prabhu Maharaj. This is Sukakar Krishna Das from Chennai. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Now, I just want to get your advice now. Now the Kali Yuga, the golden age has already started. After the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, 10,000 years are the golden age. So that is the reason Srila Prabhupada has given so many disciples like you who are really traveling all over the world and preaching. So we being the next generation, we are trying our best how we can do it. We can see the quick fire. People are taking birth and dying, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshana Darshanam, not knowing that they got trapped inside the body and the soul. I was hearing one Srila Prabhupada's lecture yesterday. So I find there is a big need to awaken the youth and the children. I know there are some great Radhanath Maharaj disciples who are all doing, but I feel there is still more preaching required all over the world, especially in India, because the Hindutva is losing its total turn, because a lot of people have been converted into Christians and Muslims because of there was no proper preaching at that time. But now Srila Prabhupada's Gyan is there and we all know a little bit. So I want your advice how we can aggravate the whole thing and see that it can reach every corner of India and every corner of the world.
Very nice sentiment, very nice thinking of the welfare of the people, and in general to all over the world. But it requires a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of duties. So we should preach vigorously, distribute books, invite them to the temple, have some relationship with them, Because without personal relationship, they don't change their mentality. But anyway, there's the golden period is there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just came over just 525 years ago. So because of him, because of his mercy, he is most Vadanlaya, most magnanimous, not distributing his love of God without any qualification. Krishna needs so much sacrifice, surrendering. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not even need surrendering. Just laulyam api ekle pulyam. Just by having some desire to have Krishna or understand Krishna, he gives us the knowledge that we could become Krishna conscious. So the only the way is to just like Prabhupada 50 years ago, and when he came, he started preaching in 1966. So same thing that we have to follow in his footsteps. Preach, make more disciples, and whomever you meet, yare dekhe tare ko Krishna Pradesh, amara agya hai bhutara desh. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that whomever you meet, you talk about Krishna. You talk about how merciful he is. Who is Krishna? Who are we? What is our relationship? So you talk about this. So it has to be done on an individual level. You could do on a general level, like teaching one-to-one, or teaching one to so many, like different temples, big temples and big exalted Vaishnavas are giving nice talks. So people are getting chance to convert, but it needs still a lot of work, as you said, in India and all over the world, because they have learned the wrong way. They have learned that they worship anybody, it's all the same. Or worship, they say that Paramatma is there in everybody's heart. You worship any living being, even a dog, and you will become Krishna conscious. That's such a wrong, rotten philosophy, and that's what people, they understand because of the wrong teaching. So it requires a lot of preachers, a lot of devotees, a lot of understanding, creating some societies, association, and trying to spread whatever best way. But Krishna will give us energy. Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. And he will give you the knowledge by which you could come to him, or others could come to him, or we could spread Krishna consciousness. So we should have a desire to spread Krishna consciousness, and we should try to implement as many methods as possible. Prabhupada is created, the society is doing so well in different temples. But India is such a large, huge country, it requires a lot of effort. And we have to sacrifice our comforts, our living in Western world nicely. We have to get out of that and that comfort zone, and try to get out of our slumber and talk to the people, take to Krishna consciousness. I invite you to please come, and all the facility is here to preach Krishna consciousness. So please come, but it takes a lot of sacrifice. It's not that now it is golden age, so people will listen right away. No, but mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, and people gradually, people may not know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or they may know, but just that he is just like Krishna. They say that he is an exalted person, or he is a superhero, but he is not God. So same thing, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, people may also think differently. They may say he's a advanced saint, but how do we know that he is God? So people have quite many misconceptions about God, and but this preaching and Prabhupada is clearly delineated who is God, what is our relationship, what is our goal, what is Golo Vrindavan, what is Dham, what these 5 practices that we can do of chanting, Mathura Vas, or living near a temple, or offering everything to Krishna, and Vaishnav Seva, and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So everything Prabhupada has taught us, and we just follow at his footsteps, and we will have the result if we are sincere. But thank you for asking this wonderful question.
Prabhu, I got one good news for you, because you are in India. Where are you in India, Prabhu?
Near Indore, Prabhu.
Indore, okay.
Near Indore, in Madhya Pradesh.
Okay. Oh, very good. Because one of my known contacts, they have a very big trust in Chennai. It's Women's Renaissance Trust. So they have started a trust called Vrindavan Gosala Trust, and they are getting 7,000 crores as a donation in the next 1 or 2 months. So he has nominated me as one of the directors. So there, actually, his aim is to make 40 temples in Tamil Nadu first, because he's a Tamilian, and then one temple in all over India, and then go to the US, UK, one, so that all over the world will be there. So I was just asking, can we connect with ISKCON? He's telling, I don't want to get connected with ISKCON, but I am open. I'll get connected to ISKCON for initiation. But because if you just keep only Radha Krishna, then I am middle, but on the side there would be also like Lakshmi and and all those. Then only brought in and then put it to Radha Krishna, and we'll go for both seva. So I just checked with Gauranga Prabhu, Radhanath Maharaj disciple. I went to the Govardhan Eco village. He said we will definitely make him understand, and he said he's having 1,000 acres in each places in all the temples. So 500 acres will be for Gosala and 500 acres for farming and other things and all. So Gauranga Prabhu said I'll make it like Govardhan Eco village. So everywhere, all over India, all over the world, and 24 hours Zoom preaching. So I will seek your advice, Prabhu, when I get it. I will need your contact and everything. I'll come to Indore and I will take your support because you are Prabhupada's disciple. So your knowledge and experience would be more to see that we can reach as many people. He said you can open a Prabhupada library, keep Prabhupada books, just like ISKCON, thing like ISKCON. For name or fame, I want for Jeev Daya so that everybody can get. Yeah. I will really be in touch with you, and I will leave your telephone number and email ID.
I can give you my number right now in India, and you please send me the message that how I could get in touch with those people, where to write it, who is the person. So my number, not Zoom number, but WhatsApp number is 905 851 9771. It would be highly appreciated. I will contact them, and because you are the director, it would be very easy. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So please send me the number. No. You are in Indore? Are you in?
I'm in Chennai.
Oh, Chennai. Okay. So you send me.
मैं चेन्नई में हूँ, लेकिन मैं इंदौर आ पाऊंगा.
Okay. You call me on this number and let me.
I will send you the whole details.
Yeah. Please send me. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
905-851-9771. No, 905-851-9771.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. Thank you. Both Dhanyavad. Thank you very much. I will always be a servant. I want to just serve you, Prabhuji.
We all have to be together to see the Prabhupada's mission. So thank you.
I will need also the blessing of Prahlad and the Prabhu. I also come to him for his support. Everybody.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. I welcome you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Apado Manas and also Shama Gauri Mataji, because they're all stalwarts. 10 years have been doing such great things. So I think something like this people I need, all the people. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. And my obeisances.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Samik Rishi, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, thank you so much. Today is very, very auspicious day. It's the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada, and we are so fortunate to have in the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has created the temple like a whole world can be in there. So we are so fortunate to have in the moment of Srila Prabhupada, and we are so fortunate to have you here because you had direct association of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji.
And you look like also Srila Prabhupada. You look like Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for such a beautiful class and reminding us of the fortune that we have of being Srila Prabhupada's grand disciples. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And also I want to thank Lalita Mataji for such a heart-touching class and giving really very, very moving. Thank you, both of you. And please bless us. Please bless this entire Sangha that we make some good use of Srila Prabhupada's gifts. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, both of you.
Thanks to everyone. And thank you to Lalita Mataji. She just wrote a little bit note about, so I read about it and she spoke a little bit our association. So I'm thankful to her giving us her association and her goodwill for us. So Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we
Thank
can
you,
read
Lalita
now.
Mataji. Pranam.
So Prabhu, you send me right away. Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji.
I'll send it just now.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Lalita Mataji, seek your blessing.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya.
Thank you,
Krapa
Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah.
Thank you so much, Lalita Mataji and Samik Rishi Prabhu, for your wonderful, wonderful, uplifting association. You're connecting us to Srila Prabhupada, and we're very grateful to you for that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Lalita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So much, Mataji.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho.
Gaura Bhakta Vranda ki jai.
Prabhu ji ki jai. Hare Krishna Mataji ki jai.
Hi. Thank you both so very
Gauranga,
much.
Nityananda, Gauranga.
Nityananda. Hare Krishna.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all. Thank you, Samik Rishi Prabhu, Lalita Mataji, and Dinabandhu Prabhu. We'll be ending the call here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada.
Gauranga, Nityananda,
Nityananda.
Gauranga,
Jai Prabhupada. Jai
Prabhupada ki jai ho.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Thank
Ending
you.
the
Hare
call.
Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
Hare Krishna.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.